I think the best marketers and the best businesses lead. And that's why that people follow them. And that's why they're excited to do that, is because they make it very clear, this is where things are going and it's good for you and you should go this way. And so that's the first thing. Like, they're willing to take a leadership position. And anytime you take a leadership position, you got to know that you're going to have some arrows slung at you. I also think that when your prospects, when your customers, when your clients tell you that they want something, you should believe them. And if what your business does is help people achieve the outcome that they say they want, then you should do, again, not whatever is within your means. I'm not saying that you go to this person's house and you like kidnap their cat and you say, look, you're not getting your cat back until you pass your Portuguese test, right? That would be a bridge too far.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Lunch with your host Ryan Deiss and myself, Roland Frasier. It is wonderful to be back. Ryan, how you doing? We just got back from a wonderful time off, and then you went and did something else. So you're either tired or feeling refreshed, or
yeah, maybe a little from column A, a little from column B. But no, I mean, it was good. Like, you and I got to head out to UK, part board meeting, part partner retreat, part just kind of hang out and kick it. And so that was really, really nice. Got to do that for a week. And that was kind of on the back of some other family travel. So I'm now back in it. I mean, you know this, I like to take a 30-day vacation. I found that that's been one of the most helpful things that I do, not just for me personally, but for the company. And so it was sort of broken up this year because my son had some college stuff, but I do actually feel very motivated and refreshed. And I found myself like working this weekend, not because like I had to, but because I just was like itching to get in and start building some things. So yeah. What about you?
good? Just kind of same. Just the trip was really great, and then got back and hard in it for a week, and then this weekend just to kind of get caught up on the the fun, interesting things that I like to do. And I always like researching, like kind of catching up on everything, finding things for us to talk about. And I came across this article that I sent you, which was near and dear, I guess, to both of our hearts, because you have had family experience with it and I have had direct experience with it. And that is that persnickety, cagey little owl over at Duolingo. And and I've seen and read quite a few deep dives on their marketing over the last 4 or 5 years, and they seem to be, to me, just brilliant. And I think I saw that either profits or revenues were up 50%, recently, and they just do a great job. But this article had a little bit of pushback because the gentleman was learning Portuguese for a trip, and he's like, I had the deadline, and so 2 weeks before I started doing it, I had a streak for 2 weeks, and then and I like this. It says, it didn't take long for Duolingo's emails to shift in tone. One subject line read, "It's been 3 days," and it's got the like rolly eyes emoticon. And then it says, or emoji, the next day it asked, "Have you already gotten sick of learning Portuguese?" And then the day after, my favorite, with the little smiley that's got its one eyebrow up and the hand on its chin, says, "It looks like you've learned how to say quitter in Portuguese." Ouch! Ouch! So he was basically just saying that that this is a amazing job of bringing a brand's personality to life, and it's clearly been great. And they are following up, but not just, "Did you see my offer? Did you see my offer? Did you see my offer?" They're following up in a brand personality congruent way, consistently, very emotional blackmail-y. They've gamified the app so that you've got these streaks that you just don't want to break. Because why? I don't know. Does it mean anything? No, it doesn't. Not at all. But there's something about it that causes us to come back. I think I had right at a year of one language I was trying to learn on there, and I played with it over probably since it's come into being. And it's also interesting, I guess, this guy said in the article, I hadn't noticed it, but that the actual app icon turns from the happy, healthy green owl to like kind of a, an aged, decrepit owl when he doesn't get used on your app screen. They are absolutely brilliant at it. They sell the ability to, and I don't know if you can pay for it, but like you can use points towards it. The ability to get freeze diamonds and things to help you preserve a streak if you can't make it for a day. But I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because I think it's brilliant. And also, does it go too far? And how can we learn from that as marketers? What are your thoughts?
Well, so first of all, the article that you're referencing, Business Insider, and the headline is "The World's Meanest App. Duolingo subjects its users to emotional blackmail. Gen Z loves it." I think it's worth just pointing out, again, the folks at Business Insider are just proving themselves to be just completely, just it's just such like crybabies. I don't know. I just it drives me insane.
Or is it just clickbait opportunists?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's like their whole deal. Like you're doing exactly, for what it's worth, you're doing exactly what you're railing against this app for doing. You've got clickbaity headlines and all this other stuff. So I want to separate just kind of the tone of the article, because to me it's just like whiny baby kind of reality stuff. But I do think it's important to acknowledge that, yeah, what Duolingo is doing is absolutely a form of manipulation.
Yes.
And I saw this with my youngest son, Timmy. We were going to go, this was a couple years ago. We're doing our family trip, 30-day vacation, like I talked about. We're going to be spending some time in Germany. And he decides, I want to learn German. So he's like, can I get the Duolingo app? And this kid's like on a 400+ day streak at 12 years old. Yeah, 12 years old, learning German. Can't speak a lick of German, so I don't necessarily want to speak to the efficiency or efficacy, rather, of this particular language learning platform. But for sure, there was one night I remember he came down just bawling his eyes out because he thought he lost his streak. He didn't get it in, and his iPad had died, and all this, and he's bawling. And I think you could argue that like, oh, this is therefore bad. We got to have a conversation with him as parents about like, let's talk about the things that matter. Let's talk about responsibility. Let's talk about, there were some good lessons for him to be had in there. So this idea of it being manipulative, I think it's possible to acknowledge that like, yeah, it probably is, manipulative, but also to acknowledge that adults should be adults and should be responsible for their own stuff. And if you're going to let your kids do it, parents should be parents. So can we set aside just is this wrong and is this bad argument? Because to me, I don't know. I think it's idiotic. Well, what do you think?
Actually, I would like to speak to it briefly because you and I feel very similarly about things like that. But I think that not to get lost in our own, I can't call you an old man. I mean, I could if I was 20, but not
people
to get
yelling
lost
at clouds
in our own, like dad rhetoric. Is it unethical to manipulate your audience into doing the thing that you think serves them? Let's give Duolingo credit and say, we believe people that say they want to learn a language should be encouraged to learn a language. At all costs is probably too far over on the spectrum. Not at all, and hope they just work is not enough. Is it unethical to manipulate people into taking action to consume your product?
Yeah, and I would argue that no, especially if you can make different arguments about whether or not the thing somebody wants to do is good or bad, and then you can decide what business you want to be in. If somebody's like, I'm not going to be in a business that encourages like smoking and drug use and pornography. I think that those things are bad, and so even if somebody says that they want it, I'm not necessarily going to be in a business that encourages those lifestyles because for me, I think that's bad and unhelpful.
So that
in this case,
how ethical is the result, right? As the thing they want. Let's assume the thing they want, we don't have an ethical challenge with. Now we go to, is the method, is the means of getting them to consume the thing that we actually know they want,
right?
Is, where do we draw the line there? And how do people, because I want to help everybody who's watching and listening first solve the moral dilemma, or at least be able to analyze it. And so I think that first level is the thing that we're ultimately trying to give them something that's not really that great for them? And if it isn't, then, that's an ethical dilemma you've got to wrestle with and decide, are you okay with that or not? we've obviously decided not. So then we get to, yeah, okay, so they want it, and it's good for them.
Yep.
And we've got some tricks up our sleeves to kind of emotionally cause them to feel bad if they don't move in the direction, which is the other thing. That's negative reinforcement versus positive, right? So
Yep.
the positive is, congratulations, you're on day 45 of your streak, and the negative is, I guess you've learned how to say quitter in Portuguese. So how do we help people, including ourselves, think about where do you draw the line, or is pretty much anything okay?
I think the best marketers and the best businesses lead, and that's why that people follow them, and that's why they're excited to do that, is because they make it very clear this is where things are going, and it's good for you, and you should go this way, and so that's the first thing. Like, they're willing to take a leadership position, and anytime you take a leadership position, you got to know that you're going to have some arrows slung at you. I also think that when your prospects, when your customers, when your clients tell you that they want something, you should believe them. And if what your business does is help people achieve the outcome that they say they want, then you should do, again, not whatever is within your means. I'm not saying that you go to this person's house and you like kidnap their cat and you say, look, you're not getting your cat back until you pass your Portuguese test, right? That would be a bridge too far.